we're just going to jump right in.
Oh, the first caller hung. Well, okay, we still got 2 people in the queue to wait to speak, so let's go right away to area code 207.
You're on the air with Brenda and Scott. Hi.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
And thank you for calling in. How can I help you?
Okay, I was wondering if there's any possibility of connecting with someone that passed over.
We will try our best.
Okay, well, if my father won't come through, maybe my friend will come through who died in July, but what I would like is, recently I believe that my father was actually admitting that there was at least one half-sibling out there somewhere, and I was hoping that maybe he would be willing to give me something to go on.
Okay, now he said, what did he say was out there?
Half-sibling.
Half-sibling?
What?
You said there was a half-sibling, he said?
He actually said something that I had figured out some time back, that I had at least a half-sister, and there may be more. And he said something recently to the medium, and it surprised me because my family never talked about anything. And then just the other night, I could tell it was my Uncle James, which was my mother's brother-in-law, saying that I was opening up a can of worms. Well, I'm willing to open up that can of worms. I'm not getting any younger, and I think it's time to find out who's who. There's so many secrets and lies that I could have grained with my parents.
True. Okay, so what I feel is the number 2. So there's probably 2 extra siblings. Now if I say half siblings, they will point out that there's 3. So do you have any immediate siblings altogether? Just you or no?
I was raised with an only child by older parents.
Okay, so there's something to do with 3 of you all together. So there feels like there's 2. I feel a feminine, so it must be a girl, a woman. What I would.
Talked about her.
Okay. Did she have red hair?
I think she did.
Okay, I keep hearing Colorado, and I.
How interesting. I've heard more different places I could look, but I've never gotten, because when I dreamt about her, I realized that my mother, she was with my mother, which was unusual, and then I realized that, nobody's going to tell me anything, so I asked if she was my half-sister. She said she was, and she was gifted like I am, because I'm a medium and other things, but I never saw it in the dream to ask if she was, what her name was, and she's supposedly older than I am.
Okay, now usually I'm not good with names, but Isabella, I don't know who that is. I don't know if I doubt if it's her name, but I feel like the word Isabella. There is at least, okay, now I'm trying to figure out, they showed me mountains in the back, so I'm assuming there's something that's dividing you two, so you can't really feel like you can connect, but intention is everything. And we don't have to believe that the mountains are interfering. So if you were to go back into that dream and call upon the energies of, I don't have my deck of cards here.
Which deck do you need?
I'm looking for my, hold on.
Okay, 1 second here. Which is it?
I don't really want it the angel deck.
Anything in here, honey?
Oh, here, the master deck. We're going to see if there's a certain master that will come to you. I'm trying to find where my goddess cards went, but I don't see them. Alright, so no worries.
Can we go look in your room for them?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Because they want you to connect through that intention of energy, because I see there's a bridge. It's like you have had talked to her before. Okay, so Paul the Venetian is the master that you're going to call upon. It's the artist and expression. One of the things he wants you to do is get into, are you an artist or anything? Do you know, like when you're designing something, how free it is just to put stuff down?
I'm a jewelry artist and a writer.
Okay, well, all right then. You understand the freedom of that expression. And what you're going to do is that you're going to call in Paul the Venetian, and you're going to ask for that expression. And the intention, because that's everything, you're going to use the intention and say, I am going to hook up with the first one. Because remember, this is all on a soul level that when we connect to things and people and places, So we want to make sure that you're going to do it in the alignment according to what your soul wanted. So the first thing I see is that getting in the expression of, all right, if I have siblings, thank you for bringing them in. I would tell you, oh, I don't have the thank you therapy on, but I have healing tools, and one of them is the golden lasso. And I would say, watch that. You'll throw out the golden lasso, and according to your soul, with intention, you're going to hook up to the siblings that are meant to be hooked up with. Again, I see a lot of red hair. They're showing me her at a younger age, but that doesn't mean that that's what she looks like now. But they're just trying to show me. It's like maybe that she kept her youth. I don't know. She looks this coming through young. I haven't got to figure out what that means. But anyways, there's also the VAX, VAKS healing tool, which uses your sensory system to hook into more of what your soul wants and helps you come into alignment intentionally with what, really taking and making that bridge to what you want to bring to you, and learning to throw out the right traction factor so you can tract in what you need to. Now, the reason for this split where you don't have the siblings is because there was too much depletion on the parents' part, too much energy loss. The timing was not right. Something was off. For you, now again, what we have to look at is why would your soul project this to happen where you're just an only child, is because you're a very sympathetic child, where it is, in this case, you're an empath, but you would be so sympathetic that you would get lost in the shuffle. Apparently your soul didn't want to do that this time around, so that's why it became an only child. But you didn't want to just be an only child, you wanted siblings, therefore this story started to unfold. I felt like you were a twin from a past life, the previous past life, somewhere in the BCs, I can't tell, maybe the 400 BCs, but the twin, you and her, yeah, you were both girls back then too, from what I can see. Wanted to take this adventure separate, but now it's time to, I feel like you had a squabble or a pat somewhere where you guys fought, but it was meant so that you guys could separate. Meaning, when our soul needs us to move forward in the direction and we're not willing to let go, we will have to go to the bitch slap where you'll end up becoming enemies just so that your souls will separate to go in the direction you need to. It's not that meaning that you have to separate because you hate each other. That's usually the consequence, and that's where forgiveness needs to come in, because we're not advanced enough to realize that our soul needs to separate. Now, I'm not sure, have you been seeing a symbol or a necklace, like the peace symbol or something? They're showing me it's something that's just very common, but there's like a piece of necklace. Now, have you ever found this in the jewelry boxes? Have you ever received one?
No, because when I was 26 years old, it was just shortly before I was going to get married, I discovered my father had been married once before. And apparently he married the woman in 1938, and he divorced her just shortly before I was born, and then my parents got married apparently because he turned her in for being a Nazi spy, so
Okay.
they supposedly had no children.
Well, that's...
I don't know too much because, like I said, my family never talked about anything. And when I dreamt about my sister, which was last year, I believe, it wasn't that long ago, I was surprised that she was in the kitchen of the house that I'm living in with my mother and not with my father, because I knew it would be his. And then afterwards, after I had the dream, I was upstairs in my bathroom. I was asking myself about it, why was I dreaming about her now? And it said, because she can help you.
Ah.
And that was, but I couldn't talk to ask her name in the dream.
Well,
at some point in the dream, I was with the woman who was supposed to be her mother, and there was something about Hawaii, and I asked the woman if she was married to my father, and she said she was, and that was a head scratcher for me, since there was no other record of any other marriage except for the one to the woman in Germany.
well, the interesting part is that what I see is that this child, now this is weird, this could be just a story because they're showing me this could be just a movie. It's stuff that is falling into place. But the strangest thing is they're showing me that he could have just had an affair, You know how it's forbidden love or forbidden places that you're supposed to be with. You can't be with the certain people. That is the thing I'm getting at. Is this was a secret affair, or you know, just, and to her it probably was an affair. To him it was probably nookie. I don't know, but at the same time,
I say you were right about that.
okay. But for her, the woman that gave birth, I feel like that she, you know, he was the world to her. Now, I also feel like there was a secret. Like, it's like one of those storylines where, oh, I can't tell him because that is going to cause trouble, so I will just say it's so-and-so's. This is the energy that I'm feeling from it. Again, we're going back to that symbol, because it looks round, and they're only showing me part of it, and to me, it reminds me of a peace symbol. But it could mean the word peace, as in pieces. So now I'm going to find out, are you going to be hooking up with her soon? Yes. What is there something that she needs to know? Alright, so let me just see what we will find. I'm going to get out Archangel Michael cards.
By Doreen Virtue.
By Doreen Virtue, and oh gosh, I feel like a man's present all of a sudden now. Okay, and I don't know. No, I gotta ask: is this the father?
Explore your
Was
options.
she blonde eyebrows and his brown hair's combed back, so it's kind of sparse.
Well, what's interesting is the energy. Is it feels like it's in my hands. I can't quite see him because he's like sitting in the same chair I am. And the card that came up was in reverse. It's explore your options, and I'm asking, is you saying tell her not to explore at this time? He doesn't want you to explore, but that's not what your soul wants. So, sir, you're just going to have to wait. Is there anything specific that you want her to know? I think there was just shame, because now this is a part I don't know, except for the fact he says he loves you. He didn't get to express it the way that he'd like to. Now, I don't know if that's referring to you or to this other child, because they're showing me two types of man, but one man. They're showing me a very loving, charismatic man that's wanting to play with his child and do these things, and it could be part of his fantasy where he wished he could have been a better person, or he did, or he was. Then they're showing me this other person.
He probably thinks he wishes he could have been a better person, because he had no patience, he had a temper, and there were things that happened when I was little that I don't remember, but I know that he's being sexually abused in some way, shape, or form.
Right, so I think it's his fantasy that he's trying to project in front of me to give you is a cover-up. Because again, I'm not seeing him. All I'm seeing is he's using my hands, trying to get, trying for me to. I feel like, okay, now I'm just going to find out. Did this man pass over? Yes. There's a lot of shame. A lot of shame. A disgrace. He would be in humiliated, I think is the word. He says you don't understand the times. You don't understand the times, and what he's referring to as, like back then, it's a whole different belief system of what you're supposed to be. And he wants you now just to create positive life and positive thinking. He doesn't want you to dwell in that. And again, I'm going to have him step aside because I want to know what your soul wants to know. Because you're on this adventure, you're on this journey. Is there anything that the soul's going to push you along the way, one way or the other? And so to honor, you need to honor your soul. So I'm going to, I just saw a bunch of pearls, which means about pearls of wisdom. Okay, so the thing is that learning to make a choice. At this time, don't push it. Allow yourself to, like I said, there's the tools that are on my website that will help you to get in a line, and then it'll all come to pass. The other thing is to meditate or go into your dream state using your intention and connecting up and creating that vibe. because if you are supposed to be together, nothing's going to stop that, and you may as well start shining the light saying, here I am. You will start using synchronicity and clues. They want you to do that. Just don't physically try to force something because it's not ready to mature. So do all the other stuff that you know.
I don't want to force anybody because
Right.
they may not want to know me.
Correct.
I just feel that I have a right to know who they are.
Exactly. There's
Because I figured out who I'm being for. It was one of his ex-girlfriends, and he was going with it at the same time he was going with my mother during the war.
That's interesting. There. Okay, now I feel like there is
I
records.
figured it out long after he died.
Ah.
Which is strange. I should have known because my mother used to talk about dot cells, and my name is Dorothy, and I never realized that. Now I think that's part of what we didn't know is connected because he named me. She didn't.
Right. Okay. All right. Yes. Yes. I feel like this is a mystery and a puzzle, but it's also to ignite and motivate you to use your abilities more in a different direction. So I feel like this is an opportunity for you to grow. And now I don't know why, but they're showing me a lady, an older lady, sitting in a chair. You know how the stockings are only half up to the knees, and the skirt's dressed is kind of up on the legs, and the slip shows just a little bit. Curly, tight hair. You know, curly, tight hair. It's not loose or long. And it looks like a grandma type. Now, I'm not sure why they're showing me this, but it is to, I feel like it's you to the point where you are to not just label yourself as a grandma or that grandma energy, because there's too much feist.
I don't even resonate anywhere to do that. I
Okay.
My age, and I say I'm 64 years young.
Okay.
I don't look 64. You can think it, act it, or feel it. Oh,
Good,
gosh, no.
good. So now I got to find out what this is, because again, that's related to you, and I don't know. Okay.
She looked something like my mother. She had her hair short, and she went every 2 weeks to get it done. And sometimes, because she never wore, at the end of her life, she was wearing nylons, and she'd wear the girdle with the garters on it. So sometimes she'd sit there with her nylons rolled to her knees.
Okay, so now, but that's funny. Okay, so they're showing me this woman, and if I asked if it was the mother, yeah, yeah. So okay, so I asked, this is the mother, and they go yes. She's doing the shame finger. You know what the shame finger is, where they wave that finger and saying, shame, shame, shame on yourself. She's not doing it to you, okay? She says there's a personality. Do you feel like you have a personality trait that you got from her?
I suddenly did when I was talking with my cousin recently after my aunt came to, which was my mother's sister. It was so obviously my aunt. And I found out that my mother in her day, which I never knew, she had actually gone to Havana with her sister, and she was a friend, and she was sort of the wild woman. And here I am, I always jokingly refer to myself as a dirty-minded, bony old lady with class. I'm like my mother.
Did she?
I never knew she had that wild streak in her.
Well, she's laughing.
I laugh at that, even though I realize she was a big hypocrite. I think it's funny as it can be, and I'd love to know more.
Well, she's laughing. She says because that's one of those best kept secrets. But she says, but she's laughing because you got it.
Yeah,
So,
I think it's a hoop because I never would have thought of my mother going anywhere except to Canada.
yeah. Well, yeah. According to the picture,
She did all these things and I didn't even know it because she wasn't like that when I knew her.
No. That's why she's laughing. She says, "Oh my gosh." She's laughing. Now, I'm trying to ask if there's any message from her, and she just is a shame on him, but she says you're a hoot, and
I'm the same one in the family, apparently.
that's good.
That's what she told another reading originally. Somebody on elderly did. They were saying that I was pretty much the one that was sane. I thought that was funny.
Well, that's a good thing. Okay, so.
Considering what people think of me around here with my difficulties, I think it's a riot that she's laughing about it now because she was not that cuddly, loving person that I needed her to be.
No, that's
She turned a blind
Well, that was part of that era.
What Dad was doing, and he did it perfectly.
Right. That was part of that era that the man is always in charge.
Yeah.
Now I grabbed a card.
5.
What's that?
She was born in 1905.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of different rules then. Okay. So I drew a card out of a deck.
Dad was 1908, so they were 2.5 years apart in age.
Yeah. So the card that your mother gave me is in reverse. It says, it's the education card, but it's in reverse. It says, stubbornness and the desire to know it all and be right no matter what will not get you what you want. Or it could be that you're afraid to be seen as someone who knows less than you're supposed to. Could you be flying through life by the seat of your pants, hoping no one will notice you're skimming the surface of things? Life is filled with lessons, some bitter, some sweet. A strident lust for certainty will never bring you the wisdom you seek. Pretending to know more than you want, or won't, sorry, all of a sudden she's, pretending to know more than you do won't make you wise. Be assured that not knowing is a magical place to be. All manner of mysteries are revealed. Be open, it's okay to know. Now when I read that card, what is your first observation?
I am a person who's stubborn, but I know I don't know it all.
Okay, but you...
But it runs in the family. My mother tried to tell me once that I was just as stubborn as my paternal grandmother or my father, or I know she said that both of them at one time or another. And I pointed out partridges were just as stubborn too, which is her main thing.
Ah.
She couldn't blame it all on them, but we are a stubborn lot. But sometimes, as I think my grandmother pointed out a while back to leadership or whatever, that they're stubborn and then they're stubborn for a reason. So sometimes I'm stubborn just to be stubborn, but sometimes I think I'm stubborn for a reason and I have to be.
Right.
But no, I don't know it all. I know I don't.
Okay, now this...
I wouldn't even want to pretend that I did.
This, before we finish up here, it says, I have a book that's Even More Notes from the Universe by Mike Dooley, and I was guided to pick up this page. And Scott, I'm going to have my husband Scott read it.
Which one, right or left?
This one.
Right side, okay. Oh, dearie, dearie me, so many claim to believe. So here's what I'm going to start asking them. If you really believed you were guided, wouldn't you begin listening? And if you really believed you were powerful, wouldn't every true desire be followed by action? And if you really believed you could provide the spark that makes your dreams come true, wouldn't you stop living as if you weren't sure? You ought to stir up their coffee, huh? Let's rock and roll. Be the miracle.
So that is a sign that says you're on the right path. Keep doing what you're doing. You're going to get the energy that you need. So again, the biggest thing that can help you is if you're into doing healing tools or helping you with your path, would go to mwreveal.com under healing tools and look for the golden lasso and the VAX, V-A-K-S. And just watch the video. Okay, if you're in the chat room, the information's already up, and you can watch this on...
I am in the chat room.
Oh, good, it's all there then. Okay.
Yeah, Dean Layton's right there in the chat room.
All right. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, this has been fascinating. It's been very interesting.
And I appreciate you calling in, and I appreciate the question. So keep in touch. Hopefully you will get your answers, and we can go from there. So like I said, a lot of red hair. I don't know why, but... So we'll talk to you later. Thank you. We're going to take caller 215. You're on the air with Scott and Brenda.
Hi, Brenda. Thank you for taking my call. This is Elizabeth.
Hi, Elizabeth. How can I help you?
Hi. I'm sorry.
We're doing good. We're doing good. And how can I help you, dear?
Well, I'm recently just getting past a period of a lot of clearing out in my life, and looking for new beginnings and whatnot, but I'm having a difficult time connecting with a life path, and I'm not really sure what's blocking me, but I just if there's any guidance, that would be great.
Okay, so give me just 1 second. They're saying you're unable to blossom, and I will find out why. What does she need to blossom into? Where is she going? What does she need? They said that right now your goal is to find the freedom. So that means now we got to find the chains that bind, all that chains, and they say that your smell, because as babies are born, babies root around smelling for the milk. It's also the way that people bond. And this is one thing that has stopped you from moving forward, because without realizing it, you sense the space with your nose. Even if you can't smell, okay, you sense it and find out whether or not, if it's safe, it's okay. The main thing that seems to bother you is about people's emotions. Now, do you look at their faces first to notice whether they're scowling or if they're angry, that you kind of avoid those people?
Probably.
Because they're saying that that what's leading you down your path, see, there's a part of you that's strong, moves forward, but there is the unconscious part that's running the show, and it's this your 3-year-old self that was very much in a freeze position where it didn't want to be around people. Were you ever considered a bashful child?
Incredibly shy.
Okay. They said that there's a part that you've learned to say, I dislike that, I dislike that. And because you're very sensitive with your smell and you could smell the vibration not being correct, like the person could be standing there completely happy, and it looks like a safe environment, and it can be a safe environment, but again, because you connect on that level with them, which is their insecurities, their worries, their fears, that's what parts that's confusing you, or confusing the 3-year-old part of you, because you're like, oh my God, it's like you are aware of it first before anything else. Now, as you've grown, that's good. You've learned to be a little bit more outgoing. You know, I got to survive, so I have to eat, I have to work, I have to do this, I have to. You've learned to do that, but it's you said that you wanted to go into, what is my purpose? What do I need to do? And that means that you have to let go of, or in this case, I would create a closure to certain fear, because it's that certain fear that actually causes you to not go into the area you need to. Now, inside the brain is called the caudate nucleus, and it is the part that governs fear. It holds all those memories that you've had in your soul's journey, genetic line, group conscious, and any encoding from being a woman to the color of your skin. Anything that's ever happened in history that happened negatively or fearful or painful can be stored in that caudate nucleus. So they're saying that there's a part of you that you're just going to have to get real, and remember the times when you felt that shame of being so shy, because you were fine being shy. It's everybody else that was shamed that you were that shy. Does that make sense?
Right.
Okay, so the first thing that needs to be addressed is how other people see you. How other people are ashamed of you. How, well, you need to be doing that. And you're like, I don't have to do anything. That's how you felt as you got older. But when you got younger, you got conditioned in thinking, I'm a bad person. And so that gets trapped in there. Again, you aged, you're doing great. It's just now we need to really get that part, because it is the part of you that wants to run like hell the other way. It's, how does it show up in your daily life now? You've gotten really good at covering it up so you don't even hear that you think it, because we have 41 thoughts per minute, and you get really good at not hearing it, even though you think it. So the awareness factor has to come up first. And the awareness factor is simply being aware of, like when people say, well, I'll try to do that. Trying in the brain means just looking at it. There's no action, there's no energy, there's no nothing. Not even really attempt, even though they define try as an attempt. The attempt is maybe a thought that, maybe I'll try. But in the brain, it doesn't see action. So there's a part of you that, when people say, well, I'll do it someday when I'm rich. The word someday means that it's never going to come to the brain. So you don't bring the future into the present moment. So they're saying become aware of the fact that you have those fears. Now what's interesting is they're showing me muscle memory and it's down in the hip area. Have you ever had female cramps really bad or anything?
No.
Okay, how about back problems?
A back problem? I've had a back and just muscular.
Okay.
I should be back to training right now.
Okay, so I'm not sure what they're showing me, except for maybe it's the way you walk. Do you have one leg heavier than the other?
No.
Okay, I'm not sure what they're showing me this for. So give me a second to figure out why they're doing this. Because the muscles that are, how do I put this? When I was giving birth, my hips never dropped as a teenager. So the muscles that were in the front, that's right where you feel your pelvic bone, and then if you were to push a little further towards your stomach, then all of a sudden you wouldn't feel the pelvic bone anymore, and you'd feel like stomach area. Well, those muscles that pull the pelvic, they're showing me that they're too tight. Now, usually when they're too tight, it'll actually feel like your back is in pain and out of alignment, or you can have feminine issues. That's why I brought those out first. And I'm trying to figure out why it's so important. To me, that's bizarre, but... And of course, I don't have my one papers with me, Scott. And you won't be able to find them.
I'll find them.
You don't even know what I'm looking for. Anyways, I'll let him look. And that'll be amazing. Do you feel better?
When I was having my daughter, they were saying, I mean, she was only 6 pounds, that they thought my hips were so small that I wouldn't be able to pass. I mean, I did it, but there was, just there were thinking of a problem with that.
Okay. Yes. Okay, so let's aim in that area. Let me see. Just put that there. There's another skeleton chart that's not colored. The hip thing that they're referring to, I have to find out. Now, have you ever had your tailbone crushed or kicked, or did you fall on it? The sacrum area?
I fell on it a couple years ago.
Okay,
I didn't break it, but I hurt it really bad.
Okay, somehow, even though you hit the sacrum, you know, which is the back end of it, the trauma is held in the front part of your muscle. But apparently you're not noticing that, which is good. But the muscle memory is telling me, okay, so let me ask you, how do you carry the burdens of life? Do you feel like you have to carry on the burdens of others with you?
No, I just feel like I have a lot of my own burdens.
Okay, so that's what they're referring to. Okay, because see, it can be the tailbone, which is usually you, and the shoulders are usually when you take on others. But in this case, they're showing me that it's a muscle memory, which is you're probably copying a repetitive pattern in the genetic line. Okay, so in this case, since you said the burdens that you carry of yourself. Now, that is definitely the energy that I'm seeing. And they want you to, okay, so now we got to figure out, they want you to do that, take care of the burdens, take care of the shyness. So where do you want her to go? All right. To understand it a little more. Okay, so there is a healing tool that I would look at, and this is all about the purpose. As you start to move forward and be more outgoing, your body is going to fight you and say, oh, hell no, because it remembers being 3 years old and being scared crapless that you didn't want to do it. And the burdens lie in how you don't want to do certain things. And so the stuff that you got to do seems to be astronomically huge, like a mountain, which your body then says, oh my God, she's going to try to climb that. So your body is actually rejecting, from what I can see. Your body's going, no, I'm going to remind her that she can't do this. And that's exactly what you felt at 3 years old. I can't do this. You following me so far?
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so now I have to, because we were looking at the Change That Bind, and it is a pattern that says if you get to be too outgoing, then you have what they call a bungee cord that pulls you back, and it looks like you go 1 step forward and 3 steps back. And so I just want to make sure you're on the right path with me, right? You understand?
Yes, yes.
All right, so now I'm going to ask him. I'm going to ask him, is she ready to heal this? Yes. All right, so what healing tool do you want me to give her? A peace of mind. Oh, that's good. Okay. Okay, so we will give her the peace of mind, but what tool are we going to use to give her the peace of mind? Hope therapy. Okay, so we're going to use hope therapy, and you'll find that on our website.
Therapy?
Yes. When you go to MW, are you in the chat room at all?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so you're going to
I
go to...
don't know. I have it up, but no one's there.
Because in the chat room is where we put the links. If you can just...
Okay.
My husband will re-put the link up. Okay?
Okay.
And so when he finds Hope Therapy in the Healing Tools, because once you go there to mwrevealed.com, then you go to Healing Tools and Hope Therapy. He's going to put a link on. And you're going to watch the video, and then you can look at the what I wrote. Now, the code that they're going to give me is R2D. R stands for the right wrist. The 2 is the number 2 in the second position on the wrist, and D is referring to deep. Now, give me the remote or whatever.
Mouse. It will not click on the address bar.
Okay, so that means we just have to F5 that.
Okay.
And let that go. Now,
We'll get it pasted.
R2D, what they want you to do is understand that the thing that you've been fighting with that causes this stuff to happen is that you're low self-esteem. So if I asked you, are you willing to go shake hands with people? And you would say,
Yes.
now say, and do you feel a little hesitant at thinking, okay, I'm not sure why, I really don't want to, but I will, I don't, so you kind of have an argument. Do you feel like that when you say, I'm willing to do that?
Sometimes, yes.
Okay, so now say, I have the self-esteem to walk up to people and shake their hands.
Okay.
Because the self-esteem,
Walk up and shake somebody's hand.
yep, see the self-esteem is that there is no doubts, it's the great straight confidence. Just like you have the self-esteem to say, my name is, and then you could say it with great confidence what your name is, correct?
Yes.
And you wouldn't even have to hesitate unless you have a memory blank, which I think Karen's laughing about. She'll say, wait a minute, my name is... But anyway, so when you're about ready to approach something, notice there's a difference between self-esteem and the will to do it. Because the will, you may be willing, but there might be a whole lot of backstory. But with self-esteem, you either have it or you don't. And that is one thing you start to achieve in this life is self-esteem. Okay? And they want you to understand that in R2D, is they want you to focus on how you feel. Oh, I just can't do it sometimes. I just don't have the self-esteem to, I mean, and if you really can't think of it, fine. Can you I have the self-esteem to take all my clothes off and walk around nude in front of people. And you're like, oh, hell no. I thought you were going to say, in my house? Sure. But notice the feelings and thought patterns that make you go, oh, yes, no, oh, God, no. Okay, so they want you to get into the mode of understanding what it feels like to have low self-esteem. Because, again, you have grown to become smarter, healthier, stronger woman, but it's those programs in the back that are actually stopping you to becoming more of who you need to be, want to be, and can be. So you understand what they want you to focus on is low self-esteem. Yeah. They said once you start doing that, then you're going to notice that the reason that you have low self-esteem to some degree is because you couldn't control events. So let's say you're going to school, young lady, and you're like, no! But they threw you in school anyway. And not a dang thing you can do about it. So there's that lack of control of events. And then there's that feeling of distrust. Oh, honey, if you do this, I'll give you a reward. And you go and do it, and they're like, oh, I don't have the money right now to buy it. Sorry, next time. And so you learn to distrust and not really trust, and then it becomes your downfall, because then you're like, well, I don't know how to trust myself. Then it goes into that inflexibility of low self-esteem again. So you see how this cycle kind of happens for you?
Yeah.
Okay, and then, so then what your alternate route is that, oh hell, I'm just going to get out of here. You know, that ends up being the last part. So you're actually showing you a strategy to some degree, that one of the things that you do. And in a way, there's a part of you that feels attacked. You know, like, let's say somebody tells you to do something, and you're like, okay, and you do it, but you didn't do it right away, and all of a sudden they raise their tone of their voice. And what it is that you actually smell when their happiness turns sour, and you feel like you're being attacked. I mean, the person, again, I'm watching how good you know how to read these people at that young age, because they don't even have to, they change their body position, and you can actually tell when they're pissed or they're going to attack, or, you know, your child sees in a way that you're going to get punished if you don't do it a specific way. Does that make sense?
No.
Okay, so all the stuff we talked about is the stuff you focus on. The place that you're going to hold your hand is R2D. And you watch the video and it'll tell you where to place your other part of your hand. And all you get to do is just enjoy by thinking of your health. You do it anyway on another level. You just use a healing tool while you're thinking of your health, and it actually starts to dissipate. Always put it on a scale, test it from 0 to 10, give it a color. Don't worry about the color. The first thing that pops in mind is perfect for you, because that's how you marked it. And there's no designated right or wrong about that. It's about how you marked it. When you look at that color or that number and it's a 10, yeah, I just trust people, yeah. Okay, look at how you know it. You could write a book, and as you stare at it and as you talk about it and think about it, what happens, because your hand is in the hope therapy position, is that the blood's going to come back up to your forebrain. And as it starts to come back up, and because you're touching your hairline, you will actually start to cleanse and clear out your thought process. To the point where you will start noticing the big fat number 10 starts to come down. And the color changes, and you're like, wow, I don't feel as attached, and I really don't care to repeat how I know it and bitch about it. Oh, and then it gets down further, and you're like, wait a minute, what was I thinking about? That's a good sign, because that means that you are telling the frontal lobe that you do not need to make the reality always to look like that. And so just when you feel like it's gone, okay, if you feel like it's a little there, keep healing. Maybe you have to come back later. But if you feel like you're not sure if it's gone, then wait. You get done, you walk around, you do things, maybe a couple days later, whatever, the universe will start showing, because it's working with you, that'll bring up an issue, and you're like, oh my God, there it is! That's called a fresh experience. You quickly, immediately, go ahead and go put your hand back into R2D and just relive the experience over and over. Because what you're doing is you're going back to that first time that you couldn't respond. You didn't know how to respond. I can't process this. Well, now you're creating a moment where you can process those specific emotions. And then what's going to do is that you're going to create a chain of event of not just healing that moment you are. You know, remember, we want to heal it down to 0 and white. But it takes and heals the butterfly effect. Goes all the way back to the first time you couldn't process. And then it takes and heals the future, where you don't have to repeat and react and handle that. We're going to preserve all the positive learnings. So basically, you're keeping all of the goodness, and then just finally filing away, cleaning up. You don't need all that extra stuff. So you're letting the baggage go. Okay? Okay, so you keep healing and do what you need to do. And if you're unable to do it alone, well, that's why I'm a soul coach. And if you go to the website, all the information's there, the phone number, the cost. And if you want to set up an appointment, you just go ahead and do so. Even call me, and we can, or email me, text me, whatever, to set up an appointment that way. That'll be fine. Okay?
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, and have a good night. All right. So what we're going to do, let's see.
Shall we take a little...
Yeah, we're going to take a...
What's the Spirit Mountain? Should I try this one?
I have no idea, but I wouldn't mind you taking and putting the promo.
Okay, let me see if I can find that.
I have no idea if you can find it. So
Okay,
we appreciate all of you that call in. One of the things that I'm going to end up be doing is probably start doing the BMW Soul,
Excuse me.
the BMW Soul Coach, probably a 30-minute segment of certain teachings. I haven't decided how it's going to look yet. We're going to be moving this out of Seers of the Soul and going into Medicine Women Reveal's own channel, hopefully by the 1st of the month. There's a lot of different things that are happening, and I'm excited. In the chat room, go right ahead and ask. There's a lot of things that I like to do. Teaching is one of them. I have been told by Spirit that I need to do a path switch again. And in this case, it is to end the class that I've been doing since 2004. And that is the Empowerment Through Enlightenment. I no longer am having the classes here, and I may do them once a month. Right now, I agreed to Spirit. Okay, I'm going to cancel until further notice. And I think that it's because all the students have learned so well, they have got the grasp and the foundation and the tools needed, not just to heal, but to look at the mirror, the quantum mirror of life, and why life is showing up the way it is. And now this has given me time to do other things that I want to do on the side, which is to create some classes, take what I teach and putting it into book form as well as in a class format. I want to start doing the Empowerment Through Enlightenment classes. At least that's the name that I keep still hearing. And becoming spiritual human. When you are healing your health, one of the things that occurs is that people say, well, I don't have health. I'll say, really? So if you ever have a day where you don't have an upset? No, I have upsets. Oh, do you have issues? Well, yeah, everybody has issues. I refer to that as hell. Just like when you say to a guy, oh, you have some fear. What do you mean I have fear? Well, when I use the term fear, fear is a general word that is like the umbrella that underneath it is anything that's negative. Anything that is in a state of unhappiness, anything that makes you less than happy is under the umbrella of fear. And it's so important to understand that's anger, that's negative thinking, that is criticism, that is all that stuff that would deplete you, deflate you. And it's so important to define your world. One of the biggest things I did on my path was define. I had to go to a dictionary. I had to go and pick out different things just so that I can function as this spiritual human. I have done so much healing that, and even Jen even noticed it, we call it the floaters now. It is, you have done so much healing that you have an actual happy life. What Jen and I noticed that we love to come home. Who lives in this house? Me and my husband, and we rented out a room to Jen because she had gotten a divorce. My daughter lives here. My son lives here. And what is so interesting about this is that it's not your general home. You're used to going home, or you don't want to go home, or you know that you had just a last fight, or just all of this, I don't want to interact. But we find that I do anyway. I like when my husband comes home. I'm excited that he comes to the door. I can't wait to give him a kiss. Start talking. Yes, I have to wait until him because he's got a routine of things, just like I have a routine of things. Jen does the same thing. She'll come home and it's amazing. She'll get her stuff done, and immediately we have this routine where we like to talk, work, play, watch TV, eat supper together, cook supper together, but we are all excited about wanting to communicate. We don't even have that, we've healed the part away where you have to oh, I'm afraid I'm going to make her mad. I'm going to do the wrong thing and this person's going to be mad at me.
No walking on eggshells.
No walking on, yes, exactly, that's good. No walking on eggshells. And so what we call floaters are those things that all of a sudden, look at the shit's rising to the surface. And you see it, and you can feel the knowing of how it bothers you. But at the same time, we handle it differently. I'll look up to my husband and I'll say, okay, we're out of sync. I don't like this. There's a floater around. I want us to find out why we're projecting this crap to happen. And so, if you think about it, it's funny. And so then we'll sit down and heal it. Now, what was interesting is that Scott and I had done a lot of healing tools, which I'm still editing. A lot of healing tools, and one of them was submodalities. Submodality healing is this stuff is nothing new. It's all been around for 20, 30 years, if not longer. But it's all of these pieces of knowledge that gives you the strength that you need. Anyway, the submodality healing. It is the sub. So that means it is, how would you want to explain that? Because the modalities we're referring to is your sensory system. It is the way that you sense your world.
Stuff that's behind the scenes.
It's what makes up that particular sense. The sub part of it, for instance, and I know I've talked to people before, but my husband, he says,